Hi everyone, it's Karen here. Welcome, welcome. It's day 7 of our 24 days of tags to 2021. Today, something a bit icy, but in my favourite colours. Many of you know my favourite is blues, and here we have an indulgence of blues. We've got Blueprint Sketch in Distress Oxides, Mermaid Lagoon and Peacock Feathers. Naturally, this will work in any colorway, and you're welcome to use whatever colors, whatever stamps you like. The stamps that I'm going to be using is this gorgeous snowflake set. This is from Visible Image. Snow is falling. It's a fabulous snowflake, and you get all sorts of extra pieces in this set. So we are going to be embossing it after we've created the background. I'm going to be using Wow embossing powder. It's the super fine bright white. Honestly, I like that the best. It gives me a crisp, clear image every single time. So the size of my tag, if you don't know by now, it's 6.5 centimeters by 12.5 centimeters long. And I've just snipped the corners at a diagonal. At the end, we punch a hole and put a ribbon through, which is 34 centimeters in length. So the card that I'm going to be using is 300 GSM. It's super smooth. We will get started. This is such a fun, such a simple technique. When I'm doing this smushed background effect, I usually start with the lighter color. Why do I do that? Because then I can just add more as I go along. Whereas if I start too dark, yeah, you can't take it off. So some of the oxide smushed onto your mat. This will work just as well with inks. And I'm just going to take my tag and dab it into the ink like that. I'm going to clean this off. And I'm going to dry it, and then I'm going to repeat it with Mermaid Lagoon and Blueprint Sketch. And I look at it every now and again, and if I want to add some more, I do. So this is I'm going to put some music to this because you don't want to hear me with my heat gun blasting every single few minutes. So this is a kind of play and see how it comes out technique. Because you're going to dry between the layers, between the applications, it layers. If I was going to put on the next color now, it would all smush together. So wet on wet blends, wet on dry layers. So I'm going to dry it, and then we'll come in with our next color. Okay, so here we have our little tag, which is dried, is relatively fallen flat now that it's got over the heating it went through, and we're ready for our stamping. Before I do our stamping or our embossing, I'm going to use my chalk pad. This has just got French chalk in it usually, and it helps get rid of any marks that we had before, so that the embossing only sticks where we want it to. So I'm going to take my large snowflake and my Versamark ink pad. So this is just a wetter embossing ink to enable the embossing powder to stick to it well. Mine's a bit dry, so that's why I'm having to go across it very thoroughly. I need to get a new one of these, I think. It's a bit boring sometimes, isn't it, when you have to, when you purchase boring supplies like that instead of doing lovely, fun new stamps. So where I'm going to orient this, it's got a bit of a drippy bit on this stencil, the drippy bit. So I'm going to orient it down that way so that I get some more of that interesting drippy bit onto my tag. And because my ink pad is a bit dry, I am just going to quickly apply this embossing powder over there first. Lovely. Now, because I do want a bit more, I'm going to ink up some of my others before I heat set it. I'm going to pop one there. And I'm going to pop one at the bottom. And I'm going to put some more embossing powder on that. And then I'm going to heat that before applying any more. And I can just see where I am. Lovely. So I'm going to heat that with my embossing gun, and I'll come back to you. That is always such a satisfying thing, isn't it? As you see the embossing powder just turn from powder into this liquid molten whiteness. So now what I want to do is from that same set, there was a few dots in it, which I think are really interesting. So I'm just going to dot some of this in and around my tag. And we're going to heat that as well. So here we have our gorgeous tag completed. It's a bit curly, but what I will do is I'll put it in my clamp press or under a couple of heavy books for just a couple of hours, and it will flatten beautifully. Then I'm just going to punch my hole in the top and thread my ribbon through. You could, if you wanted to, frame it with a bit of extra dark coloured blue, but actually I really quite like that. So thanks so much for watching. I would love to see what you make, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.